Hey Spuddies, Potato Big Whiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6. Today we're going to be playing as Ramses of Egypt with his lovely new ability, the Abu Simbel, which gives you 15% of the construction cost when you finish buildings and 30% when you finish wonders. And our goal today is to try to build as many wonders and buildings as possible to take advantage of this bonus. We also have the Itaru bonus that Egypt always has that gives them a 15% production towards districts and wonders if they are placed next to a river and they do not receive damage from floods. They've got the Marianio Chariot Archer, the Sphinx, and everything that those entail. And welcome to our delicious starting location. We have a very nice tobacco tile over here, a trio of beautiful chocolate tiles, potential marsh, potential Edamananki. A 3-tile Edamananki in the capital isn't amazing, but with a 15% production boost and a potential early autocracy, we could do some very interesting things here. Now, in terms of where we want to settle this city, I am tempted to cross the river and settle on the cocoa to start a big gold line going. The other alternative would be to cross the river and settle on this cocoa here so that we're slightly closer to the tobacco. Now, either way, I think I would place Edamananki somewhere in this city. And I'm thinking I would probably place it over here on the left if we can at all grab it. Because if I put it here, that means I could potentially put a cute little farm triangle on this here river. Now, on the other hand, what we could potentially do is potentially put Sphinx next to it. Because I believe Sphinx get +2 faith if they're adjacent to a wonder and +1 culture if they're built on a floodplain. And so if I were to put a Sphinx next to this would be 3 culture, 3 faith? No, it would be 3 faith and 2 culture. And then it would get an additional +1 culture at natural history. So it would eventually be that. And then we could potentially do like a trio of Sphinx around this. And then if we were to get ourselves, I don't know, like hanging gardens, we get all these wonders, right? We could do something interesting. I don't know. This is starting to look like it has potential for me, this sort of Edamananki opener. So I think this is kind of the direction we're going to go. I'm going to settle on this cocoa here because I want the gold. And I also want to be near the tobacco to be able to get that little bit of extra early faith. I'll use the free gold from the cocoa to buy this tile sooner to get my Pantheon a few turns earlier so we can start building wonders faster. So we're going to settle on the cocoa and we're settling on cocoa for 2 reasons. First of all, it'll actually upgrade the tile from being a 3 food, 3 gold tile to a 2 food, 1 production, 3 gold tile. So we're actually gathering that 3 gold immediately. So we're making 11 gold per turn. I think I would rather work a 2 food, 2 production tile over a actually a 3 food, 1 production, 3 gold tile I think is better than a 2 food, 2 production tile. Because the earlier that you get that +1 food, it actually significantly increases the rate of growth in the city. We go from taking 8 turns to grow to taking 5, which is significantly faster. It is close to twice as fast. And I think we will open with a scout here. And while I do really want to get a religion, I don't see Stonehenge potential here. And I might need to skip a religion this game. Just purely because going for a religion will delay how quickly I can get all the early game wonders. And that might just be a necessary sacrifice that I make. I haven't really figured out what the optimal move with Egypt is, but we did just pick up archery as a boost, which means we don't need to build a slinger to try to get that boost, which is all in all quite nice. We will be going for a culture victory at Ramses, and we're going to be trying to get a culture victory primarily through the use of wonders and Sphinx, if at all possible. We do in fact have the gold to purchase this tile. Now I think a 2 food, 2 production, 1 faith tile is better than a 3 food, 1 production, 3 gold tile. However, if I work this tile 1 more turn, I will grow and then I can just work this next turn anyway. So I think that is preferable to the alternative. And we are in fact working that lovely tobacco tile, so I'm quite happy with the situation. I am not quite happy with the scouting direction I took. This is a very poor scouting direction. I have not learned much about the map at all. I'm hoping that my first scout here will have a better chance of revealing. And I think, do I go for a second scout? I think it would be reasonable for me to go for a second scout. It's an Edamananki rush, but that doesn't mean we can't stop off for a scout. We have found Mitla, and we were the first to find Mitla, so we get +1 science. And there is a barb camp nearby that we could get another envoy from. So we'll get a 15% growth boost if the city has a campus. We're unlikely to build too many campuses this game. It could happen. It's just unlikely. So there's the barb camp that they would like me to destroy. I will give it an attempt to try to clear that. This scout will probably go south and like wiggle back and forth to discover land, and then this scout will probably head to the north and wiggle back and forth at all, or well, if it is at all possible. Now we could build the Great Bath, but the main advantage of the Great Bath is the fact that it makes it so the city is immune to flooding, and the city isn't even on a floodplain, and Egypt is immune to flooding anyway. And actually I'm quite happy to go for Edamananki here because I see a decent amount of marshes on this map, which I'm quite happy to see. If you're curious about the 2 food, 1 production, this is a plains marsh. It is not an actual valid tile in the base game, but the map script that we're using kind of adds a lot more biodiversity. For example, you're able to get rainforest on grassland, which allows you to get a 3 food tile. It just adds like a little bit of variety, a little bit of fun to the map generation. Now, for taking a look at the City of Thieves, I think the best opener is usually one in which you go for a double settler opener, but I might have to go 2-city opener rather than a 3-city opener. I do think 3-city opener is optimal. We have actually found Yerevan, and the fact that I'm now making 2 faith per turn means I might actually skip taking God King here. We already have really good golden faith, so getting +1 production would suit my empire slightly better. I do think that I'm going to not work this 3 food, 3 gold tile. If this was my first tile, that would be a maybe, but I would much rather work the production here and get that settler in 9 turns as opposed to, you know, however many it was going to be. 11 or whatever, 12 or whatever, shave 3 turns off the settler basically, which I think suits me quite a bit better. We'll take urban planning and discipline so that we can fight barbs more effectively, and then we will go ahead and start fighting this barb. I'll hit him once, heal a little, and then continue to hit him again. We do have Code of Laws, and we would really like to get craftsmanship early here, but I am going to head towards foreign trade because the early trader could be a potential useful boon. We have found potentially another barb camp to the north. Well, actually, the city-state softened up this barbarian camp, so I might be able to clear it with just 1 turn of healing. I need to kind of make a decision where my second city is going to go. There's a couple of like interesting locations. For example, if I run straight west here and I settle on this coastline, we could go for a very early harbour to get our hands on things like Mausoleum. We could go for the Great Lighthouse. We could go for the Colossus. These are all viable early game wonders, and this city is relatively well poised. The problem is, the thing that I really need are chops. I need lots and lots and lots of chopping, and we're going to be doing an exceptional amount of chopping and trying to use production multipliers to get as much production as possible. So I use production multipliers to get as much out of our chopping as possible. Now, it is an open question as to whether we should go Liang or Magnus first in this kind of a build. We did find Venice, and we were the first to find Venice, which I'm very happy about. They want a Eureka for sailing, and they want a Eureka for astrology. I have yet to do either. I could do sailing. Sailing would be if I settled this city here, and I could go for an early Colossus or something like that. We have a little think about that. It would be a lot of tech in the top half of the tech tree, but it might be worth it. I think after Edamananki, we're going to rush pyramids, so I think perhaps I would like to settle a city somewhere down here, near the deserty area. For example, in particular, I'm interested in capturing chops. There's a couple of chops over here. There's a lot of jungle chops here. I'm thinking either settling on the geothermal or like next to the geothermal could be quite good here. If I settle on the geotherm, pyramids are definitely a possibility for us. We also met Geneva. Geneva is a great city-state to find because they just give you a 15% science bonus whenever you're not at war with another civilization if you are the suzerain. I was not the first person to find Geneva. I was the first to find Yerevan, and Yerevan is quite handy, as is Venice. They just generally give you a little bit more flexibility with your apostles, and Venice just gives you more gold, depending on the number of luxuries that are at the destination city that you're trading with. I'm going to try to carefully move down to the southwest, and we are obviously going to be taking Monument to the Gods so that we can build wonders faster. Then we are going to immediately begin building the Edamananki right there. I will delete that map pin. I'm more than happy to do so. And I would like to get my hands on a builder so that I could start chopping. That'll take a couple of turns. I do like this early gold, actually. It's going to help out a lot with buying early builders. I think that's going to stand to us pretty well. I have met Russia. I don't like Russia being in the game because that's going to make it harder for me to win a culture victory. Russia tends to get a really good early culture game going. And they also tend to go for a religion. Yes, they tend to go for a religion, which lowers the probability that I'll be able to get a religion, rather. There's mining. We have unlocked the ability to chop. I'm going to go ahead and buy a builder so we can start considering that. I don't like that there's this like barb scout like running around inside my territory, not leaving. I would like him to leave now. Unfortunately, I can't really move this builder to where I would like him to go, but I can kind of start chopping some of these other tiles. I would really love to chop both of these two over here, but what can you do? Let's get to work on early empire. We would like that if we could get it. Let's go ahead and settle here. I will buy this tile for 55 gold, even though it kind of pains me to buy a tile like that. We'll go ahead and found a city right here. That'll speed up masonry by that much. I think I would love to get a builder in here. So I'm going to get started on one, and I'm going to try to grow the city at a reasonable pace. Working that 3 food, 1 production tile. Very happy with that. A pyramids rush here would suit me quite well. Let's go ahead and... do I chop right now? That's 25 production, which is worth about 2.5 turns in this city. I'm not going to be able to research anything to increase the chop ability here. 25 production is about a little bit over 10% of this. I'm not actually working this tile, so it won't... yeah, I think we just chop here. It shaves 3 turns off. That's fair. This scout is having a little bit of trouble, but that suits me down to the ground. Bro, how is Edamananki? I literally rushed it. How is it gone? I mean, I rushed it as hard as I can. You can't really rush it harder than what I did. I literally went 2 scouts, a settler, bought my builder, and chopped. So there's just no way I was getting it this game. And we have to accept that. That's just part of dealing with the AI. Now, the thing is, 69 production has been salvaged from the attempt. So we could just overflow that into something like the Great Bath, which obviously isn't ideal, but at the very least, it is a wonder. I'm surprised whoever built the Edamananki didn't build the Great Bath first. Let's go ahead and chop again. So we're 2 turns from Great Bath, which is perfect timing. Do I want to buy another tile? I'll buy a 2 food, 2 production tile, and I would like to work that 2 food, 2 production tile. Can I shave a turn off here? No, it doesn't look like it, but more production is king. It wasn't the world's greatest Edamananki regardless. It would have just been nice. I'm going to hold on to this last builder charge here, because if I can get the pyramids, that means I get extra value out of this builder. So I think it's slightly more optimal to hold on to the builder rather than to spend his last charge. There is the Great Bath, and such, we have just finished Early Empire with that huge culture boost that we just got from that. So we got 30% of the production cost of the Great Bath. Now the Great Bath costs 180 production, which means that was a 54 culture boost that we just got. Genuinely a little bit insane. We could potentially chain this into an oracle. I think though it makes way more sense to rush autocracy for that 10% production boost towards wonders. If we can build enough of these early game wonders, we could actually propel ourselves super fast into like feudalism, and getting +2 builder charges super early into the game could like supercharge our game. So in the meantime, what does that mean that I want to build here? Well, I think it makes sense to go for my 3rd city right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that settler right now. And we'll get that in 8 turns. There's something to be said to go for Liang here rather than Magnus. I think, though, I would really like to secure the pyramids. So I'm going to go for Magnus first in Memphis so that these forest chops that I'm about to do are worth more. If you think about it, if you have a 3-charge builder and you give it Liang, it gets a 33% increase because it goes from 3 charges to 4 charges. Whereas if you use Magnus, every chop is 50% better. So it actually goes up by 1.5 chops. It becomes a 4.5 chop builder, which I think is slightly more optimal. But I will be going for Liang early. We'll be doing a lot of chopping here. This is what I will consider a locust build. If you're not familiar with what a locust build is one where you barely improve the terrain and you mostly chop things until you get to feudalism. And then once you hit feudalism, that's when you start improving the territory. And the chopping actually accelerates even more. Unfortunately, we don't have a quarry tile that I see inside my empire. Russia has actually, in fact, recruited a great prophet. Sorry, I was trying to show you that there before the game took away. So he has his religion already. We're about to finish masonry and craftsmanship. So it's a 64 turn pyramid, 220 production with potentially 3 chops. We'll need bronze working ASAP as well to be able to chop the jungle. Let's get to work on state workforce. We want to get that finished if we can. The nice thing about this character is you don't actually have to rush for monuments. Now, can I sell this chocolate? I could sell this chocolate for 115 gold. That would mean negative amenities in my 2nd city. Does anyone else have luxuries to buy? No. Do I want to take a -1 amenity in my 2nd city for a 10% production loss to be able to get a 2nd builder to chop out the pyramids faster? I don't think so. I'm really tempted to build the Sphinx. Here's the question. Is getting the Sphinx now better than waiting? I think I have to wait. The builder efficiency potential here is just too high. 40 gold from that is actually huge. It means I might be able to buy a builder or a tile. Let's buy this 2 food, 2 production tile so we can get this builder a couple turns sooner. I may have to build a Sphinx here in order to lock in a potential golden age. 3 turns until the builder is done, 38 turns until the pyramids are done. I think we can make this work pretty well. We'll need to buy more tiles to get production tiles. I think we can make this work. I'm going to start bringing my warrior back because it's literally my only military combat unit, and we're not going to get many of those this game. I need like a little bit more era score. If I could just squeeze out a smidge, I might bring this builder down to try to chop out the pyramids, because if I could secure the pyramids plus a Sphinx, I think that might be a W on getting ourselves a golden age. And but the golden age potential of this civ is actually extremely high if we can do it. So there's the settler to be sent to the west. If I get another builder in here, I could quickly crack out a Sphinx for the era score. That works perfectly. In 2 turns, the city will grow to this forest. That will give me 1, 2, 3 forest chops on a pyramids with Magnus boosting and no state workforce, unfortunately. So there won't be a 15% boost, but it is adjacent to a river, getting me a 15% production boost. So this might actually work for me with how the multipliers will get together. I have to be really careful to place my wonders next to rivers, actually. No, you changed what tile you were growing to, you jerk. Okay, we'll have to do a little bit of chopping and changing. Let's get the pyramids going. We're in position for a chop. Ancient era ends in 6 turns. So let me do a little bit of math here. 45 production on a chop. I think we can make this happen. I think we can actually make it happen. If we chop here, boom. That only brought it down to 3 turns, but that's because this tile is locked in. If I move this over, now it's 26 turns. If I get another 2 chops, I think it can work. But I need to wait until the very last second with this chop. which is when bronze working finishes. And when bronze working finishes, the productivity of the chop might go up a little. Let's make sure we're working the 2 food, 2 production tiles. Can I get another 2 production tile in this city? Let me have a look. No, there just isn't another one around. So, but I think we're working the most optimal tiles that we can. The timing of this chop is incredibly important. These pair of chops. The city is already -1 amenity, so it could be worth it for us to sell off this amenity now for 200 immediate gold. What could we do with that 200 immediate gold? That would change my empire. Not much as it currently stands, to be honest. So there's 72 production left. I can chop out 90 production, multiply by 1.5, or 0.15, or 1.15, which means I can inject 103 production into this building. So 4 turns from now, I think that might win us the game. Like it might actually get us the pyramids. The only thing I hate is that I won't get a religionist game to take advantage of that, the sheer amount of wonders that we're going to build. But that's just something we just have to live with. Come on, give me a shred of era score. I just need 1 era score from somewhere, literally anywhere. There it is. There it is. We found Poland. Huge. Huge. And we found Signy. Okay. So if we can complete the pyramids and place a sphinx, that is a golden age secured, which is a huge win for the marketplace of ideas. Right, let's go ahead and settle this city right here. +2 era score. Oh, actually, I think we just need to place a sphinx. So even if we don't get the pyramid, the fact that we will place a sphinx in the next couple of turns, I think secures it for us. So we're totally fine. So I tried to like reload and manipulate things a couple of times because, right, let me explain, right? We're 1 turn from the ancient era happening, and I really wanted to see if could I just get I literally need +1 production. So I was trying to see, because if I double chop here, it's literally not even 1 turn from finishing, 1 production from finishing. So about like 6 turns ago or 7 turns ago, I had this city working this 3 food tile instead of a 3 food 1 production tile, which I think which just means I don't get the wonder before the era. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal. And the reason I was doing that is just so I didn't have to build the sphinx on this tile, because I want to put the sphinx here so I can fit 3 around it. But this will just have to be a 2 sphinx opener. So boom, there's the sphinx. It's a really good tile, and I get the +4 era score, and we do have the golden age secured. So I was just trying to like see if I could optimize it like even just a smidge more. The question is, do we actually work this? There are 3 religions gone in the game, so we could actually now divert to get a holy site. It wouldn't be an insane thing to do. And it might be okay for us to get monuments. We're already producing +2 tourism per turn from our wonders, and that will only get better over time. We met China. Okay, there's +1 era score that I wasn't anticipating. Well, there we go. Okay, so we're very, very happy to be in this position. Bro, what? The pyramids? Nah. I'm loading back. I was 1 production off. I'm going back. And I'm going to change that tile that I was working for that +1 production. So here's how I'm going to change the timeline. In this timeline, Memphis is already -1 amenity, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the cocoa immediately to get the gold and buy my way out to the 2 food 2 production tile so that I can squeeze out a tiny bit more production in this city. And that might be enough for me to secure the pyramids. Just maybe. Chop. And this time I'm going to chop this one early so that I can go 1... Let me see, right, there's 4 turns, okay? I chop here, next turn is 3. I move here, then 2. Ooh, I might not be able to chop in time, actually. I don't know, we'll see if we can do it. So I chop, I get that down to 14. I find you again, I sample your hospitality, I find that wonder. We're in position for the chop next turn. I settle this city, getting the +2 era score. I find Abraham Lincoln, very nice. And then this time when I chop, I actually get the pyramids. Dude, could you imagine? I was going to be 1 production off not getting them. Okay, listen, that was unacceptable. But there's state workforce done. We get a huge boost in culture per turn. We're up to 4 tourism per turn. We want to get our monument. We want to get all these things, but I think it's time to get our monuments. These pay off really hard. And we need to plan out what our next wonder is that we can go for. I think it would be great to get hanging gardens. We could chop that out pretty easily in the capital. It's very worth it for me to improve this iron mine. I'm going to take Liang in the capital, I think. Let me think. If I'm going to be chopping out hanging gardens in the capital, perhaps it would be good to move Magnus to the capital here and put Liang in Memphis instead. So that's what I'll do. I'll put you into the capital and I'll put Liang into Memphis, and then I'll be able to buy a builder there in the next few turns. We can kind of start planning around this. I'm definitely putting a Sphinx here on this tile. Maybe I should have waited a turn to move Magnus so that I could get an efficient chop here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait a turn with Magnus so that I can get an efficient chop on this jungle. The world enters into the classical era as it should. We have a couple of choices that we could go for. We could take Exodus to the Evangelists if we really wanted to secure a religion here. We could also take Monumentality and Faith by a couple of free thingies. The idea of getting a religion here could be actually really powerful for us. This is like having the power of a religion, a free religion essentially, because we can't really do much with Monumentality unless we start building Sphinx, which we could start doing. And if we built Sphinx, like we could get an empire. Like let's say hypothetically, I put down a Sphinx here, and I put down a Sphinx here. This is 6 faith. I put a Sphinx here, a Sphinx here, and a Sphinx here. That's 9 faith. So that's between these, that's like 15 faith. 15 faith per turn. We could faith buy things and skip a religion. Being able to faith buy builders would be really handy. And so I think we will go for monumentality here. Let's make the chop. That'll get the monument a lot faster. We're going to then take Magnus and reassign him to the capital. And we'll take you and reassign you to Memphis. Let's place the iron mine. This will give us wheel and iron working boosted. It's like an extremely efficient boost here. I like these tiles that were working. How much is it to buy? I'd like to buy a settler and a few builders, although I may hard build my builders. It all depends on how the game shakes out for me. Let's place the Sphinx, thus securing +4 era score and a really, really nice tile. We definitely want to work that. We might only get 1 Sphinx in this city, but this city has really bad amenities, so we definitely need irrigation so we can get plantations up. And we need to think about securing luxury. So if I go down here to the resource map mode and I sort by luxury, the key ones we want to get our hands on are tobacco, citrus, and incense. There is some incense down here to the southwest rather, and a little bit of furs over here to the southeast, as well as more chocolate. So there is potential here for us to pick up a good few luxuries. Alrighty, let's have a little look around. I think we're in a good spot here. So I don't actually want to do any chopping in this city until Magnus is established and we're getting to work on the Hanging Gardens. I want to buy this tile because a Sphinx is going to go on that tile, so I'm going to chop that. This tile will get chopped as well. I'll want another builder. I'll likely be faith buying a builder in Memphis once Liang is established and walking it over to Thebes to keep improving that city. In the meantime, I might put down an extra production tile. Is that what I want to do? Maybe. Or would I rather... I think I'd rather be in position to do a chop here and place another Sphinx so that I can optimize how much faith I'm getting, because the amount of faith that I can get here is going to dictate how many builders I get in this era, and the number of builders I get in this era is going to dictate my tempo, how fast I can get wonders, how fast I can get settlers. There's there's irrigation rather from the classical era and classical republic. I think we're going to stick to autocracy here. +1 yield for ever government building and 10% production towards wonders. That's going to be super huge. We're also going to plug in we're going to take out colonization. We're going to plug in urban planning as well as production towards classical wonders. We're also going to put in charismatic leader, and everything else I'm pretty happy with. So this is just huge amounts of production towards wonders. So we should be able to like maybe 1 or 2 chop the Hanging Gardens out. We're not going to start it for another 2 turns when Magnus and the monument are established and finished respectively. It would be nice to pick up horses. Horses are pretty good here in this situation. In my second city of Memphis, I think it would be nice if we could get ourselves theater squares. Although that said, maybe an extra builder could be really handy here. Where do I want to get my government plaza? That's actually a tough question. I could start my government plaza in Memphis if I wanted to. Alternatively, I could start on a trader. I think an extra builder actually holds like an interesting amount of value to me here. Let me have a look at what potential wonders we could get. There is a potential for a Petra this game. Like a Petra could happen. A Jebel Barkal could happen as well. Like if I were to go for the Jebel Barkal to the east of Memphis, there's a few chops we could make it happen with. Or would I be better off just settling a whole new city and chopping all this woods here? I think I would be better off settling a new city, so I may save my faith to purchase a settler and use my gold to purchase builders. I think that's how we're going to go about things. Russia is bringing his religion over, which I'm actually not entirely opposed to. Brilliant. There's animal husbandry, and we finished the monument in the capital. Ooh, Apadana would be sick as hell for us to grab. So where's the Hanging Gardens going? Well, let's have a think about where the Apadana is going. The Apadana can only really go on a few tiles. I don't want to buy a tile for the Hanging Gardens. If I put the Hanging Gardens here, I can get another really good Sphinx here and here, which is a lot of extra faith for this era. So let's pop down the Hanging Gardens on that tile. I'm not very happy about putting it on that tile because it is a hill tile, but it's fine. And now we can start chopping. We're at 27 production, which is a bunch of turns, and then another 27 production, which is a bunch of turns, and then we can go Sphinx, which is a fantastic amount of culture. I think we are quite enamored with the idea of production right now. So I think optimizing for production in this city, I'm okay with prioritizing that. We want to get the Hanging Gardens as soon as possible. How much until I can buy another builder in here? 180 gold, so soon. We need to sort out our amenity situation. It's a little bit unfortunate. Perhaps I can sell some iron for a little bit of raw gold. There's another 42 gold. Can I now buy a settler? I could probably buy a builder next. Oh, there it is, builder. So yeah, I need to get this builder out and moving towards the capital. It's a 5-charge builder before feudalism. That's really damn powerful. Let's go ahead and take the 1 turn, sailing and astrology, and see if we can't get to Celestial Navigation, building our harbour, and potentially getting our hands on Great Lighthouse, Colossus, and Mausoleum. All could be really, really powerful moves for us. Russia wants open borders. I'll take this open borders. Unfortunately, he settled the incense that I wanted to the north. I would like to get another city to the north. There are some good shops up here, but I think I would prioritise the Jebel Barkal city first. Let's go ahead and get another Sphinx. This is just a super optimal amount of culture that we're getting from this. I'm going to go ahead and harvest the rice, and this builder will move up and eventually build on that rice. I would like to harvest on the tobacco, and I'm going to manually lock in a bit of faith here, because I just don't have faith generation otherwise, and I really, really, really need that faith generation. My culture, honestly, it looks like my culture is bad, but the sheer amount of culture that I've built from infrastructure and building wonders is kind of insane. The fact that I'm making 6 tourism per turn already, and I've met half the civs in the game, is kind of nutty. And we're only beginning on our tourism journey. I keep forgetting to turn off the builder lens. I reloaded the game a couple of times trying to like optimize the pyramid thing, but it didn't quite work out for me. So I'm going to harvest here. That'll get me up to 7 population so I can place more districts. I should totally be placing districts right now. Maybe the Sphinx here doesn't make sense actually, and I kind of regret my chop here. I guess it's fine. We could definitely do Theatre Square. We could do Government Plaza. These are 2 totally viable things in here. And if I could get the Apadana, I would be delighted. So let's see if we can make all those happen. So let's go Sphinx. You're trying to get over here. Let's lock in this Sphinx as well. The faith and culture matter a lot to me, particularly just getting for this city out. I just need to get another settler out. They're sailing. One thing that I've noticed is it's been actually quite a while since I got the infinite end of turn bug, which I'm super not complaining about. Let's grab archery and the wheel. These are just cheap early techs. I could probably get a Mariana Chariot Archer. I'm going to take mysticism for the +1 envoy. I'm going to take military tradition as well because it's cheap. We want to head towards feudalism. I might go ahead and get started on games and recreation. Can I research construction? It's a little bit deep, so I'll go for wheel because watermills might be good for me to pick up. I'll step another tile to the right. I will chop the hanging gardens out. That's a 15% growth rate in all cities. That's actually really handy. It means we're going to hit our growth milestones a lot sooner. We're going to go ahead, and we don't have a Stonehenge location unfortunately, but we will get started on the Apadana, and we're going to chop for that as well. So there's another 5 turns taken off. I do need another builder up here, but I'm not in a major rush. I may go ahead now and unlock the Sphinx tiles to get a little bit more production, because if I lock in these Sphinx tiles, it makes it takes, I guess it only takes 2 more turns if I do this, whereas I nearly double the faith output of the city as well as the culture output. And I think that's actually worth it because the sheer amount of faith that I can generate is, I can't generate much faith, basically is what I'm trying to say. So I need to get as much as I can. I did find another city-state. We found a pretty healthy selection of city-states. Let's get the chocolate plantation online. We want the tobacco plantation online as well. I'm going to sell off my iron for more raw gold. I can get 61 gold off of you. I'm going to sell off my chocolate again for 180 gold, which is another builder in the city of Memphis. And then once I get this chocolate online, we'll be good to go. So I've sold off 2 copies of chocolate. I have another to improve. That's purely, I have luxuries I can buy. Well, I'll buy you for 29 gold, I'll buy you for 36 gold, and I'll buy you for 36 gold. So now my amenity problem should be dealt with. I wonder if there's Diplo favor going for the cheap. There's a ton of Diplo favor going on the cheap that I can grab. And then I can sell that all off to Abraham for basically his entire economy, 316 gold immediately. What am I going to use that gold on yet? I have not yet decided. It might be more builders. The more builders, like we're getting 5 charge builders right now. It's like hyper efficient. There's the wheel and games and recreation. So is there anything to be said for a Colosseum game? Let's chop here. Apadana in 8 turns. Perfect. Move you down this way. I don't like these Russian warriors on my border. It's really upsetting. I can always buy units to defend myself, but I don't want to have to do that. Here's what I'll do. It's quite efficient for me to buy slingers right now. It's not the end of the world for me to do it either. So having a slinger in the city means I can just 1 turn archery, and then I can just go ahead and buy myself another builder to keep my tempo up. Let's get started on defensive tactics. This will get us a governor title and 1 step closer to feudalism, which is our ultimate goal. Fast feudalism is like the play here. Yeah, I don't like the sheer number of Russian warriors that are hanging around my city. There's archery. So at the very least, we will have an archer in this city for that amount of money. Let's get the Sphinx, optimizing for as much faith right now as we can get. And it looks like this river flooded, but the flood was prevented. So at least this Sphinx will have at least some gathered yields. Let's get to work on celestial navigation. We would like to improve 2 sea resources. We don't have any inside our empire, unfortunately. We're also very delayed on settling, but we are up to this is just a really interesting build. I don't know how it's going to shake out, but I'm having a lot of fun trying to hyper optimize to get as many wonders as possible. I don't like this invasion. That looks like it's coming. I'm going to sell off all my open borders. I'm going to go ahead and purchase a bunch of Diplo favor, and I'm going to go ahead and sell that to Abraham for as much gold as I can get, and I would like to buy myself another archer in the capital. Okay, great. In Rakadet, we got a monument. Go ahead and get me a trader in here. I would like to get trader because it would be nice to boost currency. That would be a good thing to boost. If I can get a suzerainty here, I would like to. Mitla isn't bad. I think I'll take Yerevan. Yerevan is relatively close. Where is this levied from? Levied from Venice. I don't think I'm going to be able to take suzerainty of Venice unless I were to take mysticism. That's +1. Amani would be +2. I don't think I can take sovereignty of this from him. So where's Russia going with these? It looks like he's coming here to kill Rakadet. We'll see how that shakes out. I have archers, and he will get kicked out of my borders if he declares war. I'm going to go ahead and put a mine here, because I'd like to get a boost for apprenticeship. You're going to move over to get this tobacco online. In 2 turns, I can get an archer. I'm going to try and speed that up a little. I'm going to buy money off of Russia. I'm going to put an archer in Rakadet. That'll give it up to 15 combat defensive strength and also a city shot, obviously, right? The archer is the city shot. Quadrireme doing heroic work over here, attacking Russian units for me. Barbarians being like useful to a player for once in their life. Let's step across the river. We lost the Apadana. That's okay. We can just 1-turn the government plaza. I'm going to go ahead and place the theater square as well, although we could 1-turn the theater square. So losing the Apadana kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. We can 1-turn a theater square. We should also potentially think about a coliseum like here. If we go entertainment, could I chop out a coliseum in the capital? Here, that's the fundamental question. I don't think there's enough tiles for me to chop here. Let's faith buy a settler down here in Memphis to head out towards Jebel Barkal. We can do it. We can place the coliseum right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And make a coliseum happen this game. Let's go for it. We'll do a chop. That'll finish this. The arena. I think we should get the government plaza at the very least for the governor title. No, I think we just rush wonders. We just rush wonders. That's our most powerful move, honestly. So I want to chop out my capital. There's 2 more jungle chops here, chop, and a jungle chop here. And then this is that's when I move Magnus out of the city. So let's make those happen. First jungle chop and then another jungle chop. Just trying to get to that coliseum as soon as possible. It would be nice to get a theater square. This is a pretty good theater square right here. +2, it's adjacent to this. Don't necessarily need to rush it. What would be our second district? Most likely going to be a commercial hub. So we just need to find a place to build that. Do I want to keep building builders? This is the most efficient place in my empire to build a builder. This city could really use a couple of improvements, actually. So I'm going to tell it to focus on production. And I'll lock in the tiles I care about. So I need to get another mine here and a mine here to make the city feel a little bit better. So there's our first mine. There's apprenticeship boosted. And we're going to move you to the east. I don't know exactly where the city is going, but it's going in this direction. So where are you going? You're going up here to chop this. Chop. So where is Magnus going next? I think it might be over here to Rakadet. We could chop out an entire harbour and a couple of wonders here. In fact, there's 3 possible wonders for us to chop out in this city. And that would be really, 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 really nice. So there's Celestial Navigation. Do we want to go for shipbuilding now to get towards Colosseum? I think we unlock the Jebel Barkal. The sooner we can start building it, the better. Let's go ahead and get this plantation up. And then I'll get this plantation up. So I should have another spare copy of chocolate to sell off. Perfect. And then we've got tobacco and chocolate, which is +2 amenities. And we've also got a few amenities from buying from other players. So we should have near wholly positive amenities. I would like to get another amenity online though. And it's time for Magnus to move over to the city. We've done all the chopping that we can. I think Rakadet could be a good candidate for him to move to. And I think that's where he's going to go. The big question is Liang going to stay in Memphis? I actually don't think so. I'm going to cancel this. Well, I think it's fine to continue this builder. If we could get the Temple of Artemis in this city, I would love that. I think I might settle on Desert to secure something better. Colosseum is 20 turns. Do I stop off for a government plaza? I think getting the Colosseum right now is like so huge. It's an 18 turn production. Okay, that's pretty damn good. If I settle here, 1, 2, 3, it does leave a settlement down here, and there's some pretty good chops down here to the south, so I think settling right here is totally fine. We'll be able to get a camp, potential Artemis. You'll drop a mine right there. So now the city of Memphis actually has pretty decent production, 8.7 production before apprenticeship. We're pretty far away from getting apprenticeship, but I tell you what, we are making amazing progress. This is almost a turn 73 feudalism, which is kind of insane. It's a little bit slow compared to some of my fastest ever builds, but I'm going to go ahead and grab Pingala now, and I think I'll put Pingala in the capital to start generating extra culture and science. And then this will also potentially be where a lot of tourism is generated, so Pingala will fit nicely into the capital. So my capital essentially is finished when it comes to production. I think I'll start moving a builder to the west here. There's a few tiles that I could improve. And this is like the wish list right here for this city. If I could get a Colosseum, Great Lighthouse, and a Mausoleum here, or Colossus rather, that would be literally, city is perfect. If I can get all of these things. Now there's only so many chops, right? We've got a stone, a woods, a couple of jungle, a few jungle. So we might not have enough to chop out everything, but we can definitely chop out a lot of it. Okay, so what do we want to do with this trader? What is probably the best use of this trader? Well, I suppose if I were to settle this city and send this trader to my capital from that city, that would be really good. Also getting an envoy could be pretty good. I think I would like to send a trader from Sais to my capital because that will give the city quite a bit of extra tempo. And I really want to buy this tile because I would love to build the Temple of Artemis in here as a priority. Trader completed in Rakkadet. Let's get started on that harbour. And I will send this trader to Thebes. Like I said, that's +2 food, +1 production, which will give the city really, really good tempo. It'll hit its population limit pretty quick. We're almost ready to buy another pop. I'll be buying them. I would love to buy them in my capital, but I think the best place to buy them will be in Memphis, because Memphis isn't really necessary for much at the moment. But I tell you what, in turn 20 or turn 76, halfway through the classical era, I will go ahead and leave you guys here. We're off to a really interesting and fun start. I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.